deal with the mouse. That one thing happened, and we opened on the Precure atop a hiking trail that I think could be based off of Diamond Head, though I also kind of want to say Mauna Lua, though regardless, it looked amazing, even if our heroines did end up looking like game pieces against it. This was especially nice for Laura, who could see landscapes she couldn't ever before, including some plant life that couldn't grow from ground level. And to celebrate the occasion, they took a picture together that I'm sure won't play into future events. On the trek down though, Laura couldn't help but notice that she constantly had to look up to her friends from her sea level as though she wasn't really a part of their group. Actually, there's several subtle yet really good little bits of direction here that hint towards Laura's distress in these first few scenes. Going back to that previous scene, it was clear that she needed to sit through most of it because while she can stand on her fins on an even surface, I can't imagine standing on rocky, uneven ground would be easy for someone who can't wear shoes properly. As a result, not only did she miss out on the actual hike up the trail that she spent the aquapod for, she was arguably still not entirely a part of the group even when they were all together. Good stuff that I'll talk more about later. Meanwhile, at the lair of the Witch of Procrastination, said Hikikomori villain finally said a few complete sentences. Hey lady, it's your own fault for not getting out of bed for most of the first core of this series. And don't go blame fate for this later. Yeah, I've been kind of pointing this out, but just seeing the witch here makes me realize how little these villains have actually accomplished so far. I mean, I get it, being lazy is part of her whole gimmick, but considering that she's supposed to become a threat by the end of this episode, it's kind of ringing hollow. Anyway, we cut over to lunchtime for the Precure, and nice touch here with Sango once again being the odd one out, with her being the only one without rice as her starch. Not that stopped her from pointing out the oddities of her leader. Thank you for doing my job for me, Sango. But yeah, the reason for that scene was because they were taking notice of Laura's unusual behavior from disappearing during lunch to generally seeming a little out of it at times. Sango theorized that maybe she swapped bodies again, and while I didn't really care for that episode myself, I'm glad they're not ignoring that it happened, and even further called back to it by having Minori confront Laura in the library, where she had been reading the works of Hans Christian Andersen. Of course, the bespectacled cure got right to the point and asked if she wanted to become a human. Try saying that with a little more tsundere in your voice next time. To speed things along even further, Minori reminded her of the ending to The Little Mermaid that she had heard back in episode 4, and in a really good bit, she related the mermaid sacrifices to real life, with every success often coming at the cost of our own happiness. Later, thanks to some advice from Minori, Manatsu tried to talk to Laura and figure out for herself what was bugging her. Obviously, Manatsu wasn't a counselor, and it didn't work out, and things only got more awkward between the two. So thankfully, Manatsu's mom managed to step in. Yeah, just a friend who's lying in her bed, and okay, I'll stop there. She introduced her friend to her mom, and the mermaid couldn't help but notice how colorful her toes were thanks to a pedicure. Of course, she then offered to do it for Laura. Just say you have webbed toes, it's practically the truth. She did at least have fingernails, so they painted those, and would later do it with the rest of their team, and took another picture, which again, I'm sure won't play into anything. Meanwhile, the original villain trio had also realized they had accomplished pretty much nothing in the first core of the series, and that one of the main reasons behind that was Laura and her aquapot. Thus, they came up with the classic aim for the cleric first tactic. With that, Chongie launched another attack. Ah no, did another ship get stuck in the Suez Canal? Okay, to be fair, this is a pretty awesome monster design with some unique abilities that we'd soon see. But first, the Cures had to transform with their usual sequence, and what the devil? They had a brief new transformation opener? Okay, I think I can understand why they need to introduce this new animation, considering what's coming up, but you're only really introducing it now when you could have done, like, back when this team originally formed. Just saying, y'all are being less timely than me. Anyway, as I said, the Zenzen Yaeneta had some interesting abilities, mostly centered around its literal anchor arms.
I'm no wimp, I'm a jerk!
However, it soon revealed its most terrifying ability, creating carbon waste. Damn, Winsdial was right about recycling. But yeah, because of it, Laura misplaced the aquapod and was left wide open to be taken along with it. With their mission accomplished, Chongi and his monster made a run for it. Fortunately, Kurun, who had been surprisingly useful throughout this episode, they did a good job operating the camera, helped Laura find the aquapod. She then used that same camera function to leave a figurative breadcrumb trail for the Precure to follow. Said heroines took the time to reflect on their next course of action, which wasn't much since the past few episodes hadn't done much to expand on the Grand Ocean or the Witch. Fortunately, a convenient exposition dump came from Mafune, the crazy biologist lady from the first episode. I mean, okay, she did provide them with some useful advice by pointing out how most of our planet was covered by water, and therefore there were many unexplored worlds. She may have also had some connection with the Grand Ocean, but one spoiler at a time. Anyway, this did lead into a good scene where the Precure realized, much like the unexplored worlds of the ocean, they hadn't really thought about Laura's distress. And they would soon be able to console her thanks to the breadcrumbs she left behind. Meanwhile, Gretel was being taken to the witch, and of course, we ended on her offering legs to the mermaid as if these illusions weren't already blatant. And while I usually don't talk about previews, this one is relevant considering it will affect my analysis, and I do want to give my 2 cents about this. So yeah, next week, Laura is officially going to become a Precure, and if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't think I'm as excited for this as I should be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still really like the character, and think this could lead into a strong character arc for her, and all of this has been properly foreshadowed in the show itself. It's just that IRL, this big twist was exposed way too much in my opinion. For me, I think I saw my first images of the character just on my Instagram feed. Now, I don't blame any fans on social media for posting that stuff. No, as always, I know I should direct my ire directly towards Toei, as apparently not only did they have full-on magazine spreads spoiling the character well ahead of time, but as I can attest myself, their website already had Lemaire front and center on their main topics on June 1st, so the Tuesday before the body swap episode. It really does feel like they're purposely pulling back the curtain as much as possible just to generate an inorganic buzz behind this character. For me at least, practices like this kind of have the opposite effect and instead kill off buzz, as I do think they kind of end up taking away from the mystique of the Sixth Ranger. Let's not forget, the original Sixth Ranger Big One was a surprise to everyone, including Toei, who weren't planning on creating the character initially, but they desperately needed that ratings grab. Since then, Six Rangers in any of their properties have always been planned and even kind of expected at this point, but even then, they still tried to build intrigue behind them by not just giving them a full-on reveal. I don't know, when they reveal so much so early on and nonchalantly, it feels more like a cheap gimmick, which if anything, feels more like a disservice for the character. Honestly, that's just my thoughts on the matter, and if it does bother you, that's just as valid a viewpoint. I just want to say my piece about it. But yeah, on its own, this was still a really good episode where it finally feels like the main plot is restarting. And while I wouldn't say he needed to do a lot of damage control, as he even managed to take advantage of some of the lesser episodes not written by him, you can easily tell there was a drastic up in the writing quality with his return. The question now, of course, is whether or not he can make the debut of the Sixth Ranger work, which I am remaining fairly optimistic about in spite of a few of my hang-ups. Another thing this episode had was some of that great direction. Unlike some previous episodes where I felt like some scenes could be cut so that we could focus on others, here nothing felt wasted. Almost every scene was beautifully framed, had a lot of personality, and even had little bits of symbolism here and there. The duo of Takao Iwai and Akitaro Daichi deserve a lot of credit for handling the directing and storyboarding respectively. The two had also done episodes 5 and 10, so yeah, they're obviously doing their jobs really well. Of course, the best direction in the world wouldn't mean much without a good script, which thankfully Yoko Tani provided. Like a good head writer, he took advantage of all of the story beats so far, even the previous episode. Thus, while I think some of this was still a little disjointed, he did a good job making all of the episodes feel like he was building up to this. Though of course, the big story of this arc has been Laura going full Ariel, not just wanting legs, but also to be a part of her team's world and all that. And while her half of the Hans Christian Andersen tale has been built up very nicely, the other half involving the witch of the story has kind of gotten the short end. The idea here is that we should be fearful of Laura accepting this Faustian bargain, but it's kind of hard to feel that when we really don't have a measure for what this antagonist is capable of. Her underlings have accomplished pretty much nothing, and she especially has been treated like a joke. Therefore, it's hard to get a feel for the conflict Laura has to overcome in order to achieve her Precure title. Now, I'm not saying they can't do it, and I certainly hope they surprise me in the next episode, but I really do hope that these antagonists start picking things up going forward, because they're still really enjoyable and just not quite as engaging as they could be in my opinion. Still a great episode with some brilliant shots and great moments for Laura, especially her interactions with Minori and Manatsu. Let's see if this little mermaid can satisfy Andersen's high standards. By the way, this is going to be one of the last videos I record at this location, so starting next week, you can expect at least some slightly higher quality videos. At least you won't have to listen to my AC burning sometimes. But yeah, once I get to the new place, I'm going to start recording stuff for my Gold Princess review, so do expect part 3 to come out sometime in the next 2 weeks. And in general, I do hope I can make some higher quality videos for anyone who's stuck with me even through some of my early growing pains as a content creator on this site. So I look forward to all of that, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna have myself some lunch. This is mermaid safe tuna, right?